Thank you for joining us all. I hope you're having a great SolidWorks World this year. I know the sessions have been really fun to watch, the general sessions, especially this morning with the flying bird and the gripping thing, the elevator, the elephant tusk. Very, very cool stuff. One of the themes that you've heard mentioned over and over again, especially in the general sessions this morning, is this notion of productivity, this notion of community, and how those two things are symbiotic. And it can really, the community can really serve as a booster to help you get the most out of SolidWorks. And essentially that's what we're here to talk about today. How do you get the most out of SolidWorks? How do you stay productive with SolidWorks? And really at the heart of our presentation are three concepts. And the first is productivity. What is it? Why is it important? What tools are available to you in SolidWorks to be productive? We all know it's a competitive world. That manifests itself for CAD users, for SolidWorks users, as constant pressure to deliver better designs more and more quickly over time. Every time I go to a customer for an on-site visit, I hear that over and over again. There's always pressure to do more faster, do more with less. We all hear the same kinds of words, actually really throughout the economy, but in our industry it manifests as do more faster. The second topic is content. And the nice thing about SolidWorks is that since it's been around for so long and we have so many users, when you run into an obstacle to productivity, chances are that somebody has hit that obstacle in the past, and there's a recording of that problem and solution in some piece of content somewhere out in the world that can help you. Maybe it's a YouTube video where somebody records how did I achieve this in SolidWorks, or a knowledge base article, or a blog post, or a discussion on the forums. There's oftentimes something that you can go find, that you can read, that you can learn from to help you keep moving forward. So content's a really critical, important component of productivity. And in cases where you can't find what you need, this third notion of community really comes into play, where with such a large base of users, over 2 million users as we've announced here at SolidWorks World, there's somebody out there, even if it hasn't been written down, even if it doesn't exist in something that you can search for and look at, there's somebody that you can ask and get an answer to that question inside the community. So it's a tremendous benefit being part of the SolidWorks family, having so many other people that you can reach out to for assistance. So I'm John Ellsworth. I'm a product manager at SolidWorks. This is Carrie Praske. She manages community operations at SolidWorks. And fundamentally, we're here today to talk about how these concepts work or play into one another in helping you get the most out of SolidWorks. Now, again, you've heard a lot about the community here, and actually SolidWorks World itself is really an embodiment, a manifestation, if you will, of the community. It's 4,500 odd attendees from 56 different countries coming together to learn, to share ideas, to swap stories, and really give us all a lift up in getting the most from the product that we depend on, the tool set that we depend on every day to get our jobs done. But there are other in-person embodiments of the community as well. We heard about user groups this morning. Over 15,000 attendees go to user group meetings in 28 countries and 232 different user groups around the world every year. It's a tremendous opportunity for all of you to meet with others and learn from each other in how to get the most out of SolidWorks. In the educational community, we have millions of students. The number I heard was 2.5 million yesterday. I think you probably all heard the same number. 2.5 million students in 25,000 schools and universities globally, all learning SolidWorks, all basically moving their way up through the educational system to joining the workforce in many cases, to be your colleagues and learning the tool set that you all depend on and hoping to benefit from the experience that you all have in using that tool set. There are also online embodiments. We've had online communities around SolidWorks for years. We're multiple generations in our community platforms. But there are countless, and you can read those. I won't go through all those stats here, but there are countless examples of the online resources that are available and how the community takes advantage of those in getting the most out of SolidWorks. We have swim communities for a draft site. We have Twitter feeds, LinkedIn pages, Facebook pages, YouTube posts, all of which are getting either lots of fans or lots of traffic, lots of activity because it's helpful, useful sources of information for you. So from an agenda perspective, what we'd like to do is explore again a number of different topics. First, we'll start by talking about how or what resources are available to you in learning how to use SolidWorks and being productive with SolidWorks. We want to then talk about the different aspects of the SolidWorks community, the resources that are embodied in the community that are available to you. And then finally, I want to talk about My SolidWorks, which Bertrand, you heard announced yesterday morning. You may have had a chance to come by the hands-on session that we had yesterday, or the booth at down in the product showcase. It's a really a brand new web experience that's part of the community. It's intended to make your access to the community much easier than it has been previously. So Carrie, you've been part of the SolidWorks community for how long now?
So I've actually been working in the community as my focus for about 1.5 years now. I've been at SolidWorks for 13 years this month. Most of that time was in R&D, and about the past 1.5 years I have been concentrating on the community and content.
So you have a lot of time with users, especially in the last year, 1.5 years, it sounds like. In the time that you spent out there talking with folks, what have they told you in terms of really what is the best source of information about SolidWorks?
So that's what's the parts of my presentation are about today, which is, it's not the same for everybody. So we have a lot of different, whether you're a beginner or whether you have some advanced questions, there's a lot of information in there. So let's get to it. So one of the things that is very simple within SolidWorks itself. There's a lot of tools in there. And we have a really great help system in there. You can search directly from Google to get to our online help. You can go to help.solidworks.com. All of our help is online for, I think it's like the past at least 4 releases right now that you can select for all our different products in there. But you can also, within SolidWorks, there's the help button within SolidWorks that you can use. But one of the really cool things is that if you're, so for the web help on there, there's, when you download SolidWorks, it's a local copy on your machine, and it's set automatically for the web help to be on, and you can turn it on and off. And then when you are in the middle of a command, something that's really neat, if you're in the middle of a command and you have a question on there, instead of having to go through doing some, investigation of what you can use, how to use this tool, if you have a question about it, you can select the help directly in that menu, and you'll get directly the in-context help will pop up for you on our either the local or the online help. And what's great about that is you don't have to lose what you're in the middle of in order to get your answer and keep going. F1 works the same way. There are a lot of other items in the help menu. We have, of course, for the beginners, we have introducing SolidWorks. We have a lot of tutorials in there. And the tutorials in there get downloaded with your when you do the installation of SolidWorks. And what's really neat about that is when you select the tutorials, it shrinks your screen down, brings up the files, and walks you through some great tutorials in there. Of course, the release notes are always up to date. Whatever you have, whatever version you have in there, that provides what is in that, just in that version. And if you're new to 3D, we have a document based on moving from 2D to 3D for you. And of course, then the API help is in there also. This is one of my favorite features in there. So when you get the new version of SolidWorks, it comes with the What's New manual, and who has time to actually sit down, read through it, and try to figure out what pertains to me? So what I found was really neat is we put these, I call them like these little sparkly things in the menu. So of course you're going to take a look at some of the items in there that, some of the big what's new that went into it, but you don't want to take the time to go through and see for every single command that I used, did they make any improvements? So we've put these right in the menu so that anytime you see them, if you're in the middle of working on something, you can just select in there. So this is a good example of, in the Select All menu, it says click here to learn what's new about this command. So just if you pay attention to something as little as that, that's going to make you a little more productive if there's something new about this feature to take a look at in this release. One of the things that you probably turn off as soon as you install SolidWorks, so the quick tips. So this is where you turn it back on, and it might seem a little, yeah, I don't know if I can learn anything from it, but, turn it back on and see what you can do. It really will walk you through it. So, for example, if you decide that you want to, bring it up and create a solid part, when you select that option, it's going to light it up and make it kind of blink in the menu for you. So it kind of walks you through some of those commands that you might not know, what you might want to do next. So, depending on what you're doing, turn it on and off and see if it can walk you through some things you might not have thought of. We also have prompts. If you go to the Customize menu, something as simple as if you're a power user, you're going to have, you can change the size of those. Again, this is just to kind of make you more productive. Do you need it on there? Do you want the more real estate? Or do you want to, make sure that you understand all of the commands in there? And again, this is one of my favorite things, and I always find people that write this down as when I give this part of the presentation, because you can search for commands directly within SolidWorks. So if you're trying to use a command that you don't access all that often, you don't have to go through the trouble of trying to go through the help, trying to figure out where that command is. So when you go into the search, if you select to search for commands instead, you start typing it in, you get type ahead for suggestions. And for example, if in this example, I'm typing in move, and when you select the command that you're looking for, it actually puts you right directly into that command within SolidWorks. So it's really, really handy when you know that you know what the command is, but you can't quite remember where it is in the menu. And all of these little, tips and tricks hopefully just make you that much more productive. It saves a little bit more every day, not having to really search through all of our manuals. The add-in help, I just want to mention that for the SolidWorks provided add-ins, we have the local and the online help, but any partner add-in, they determine how they're going to deliver their help to you, so you might not always find those on our online help. And when you upgrade from a major release, you will always, or you install on a new computer for the first time, this is one of the menus that comes up. It asks you specific questions of what kind of user are you, because some of the things that I just talked about within SolidWorks, it'll set those automatically for you based on what your answers are. And there's, a lot of times it's, user groups or SolidWorks World, they'll actually have a whole session on just what you can do for customizing SolidWorks. If you download this from the SolidWorks World website, we have a link in here, but you can just go to our online help for customized SolidWorks, and there's a ton of different other little tricks in there, from customizing your toolbars to some mouse gestures to, APIs and keyboard shortcuts. So definitely go ahead and take a look at that on our online help. So that's within SolidWorks in which you can get some help. So now I'm going to talk about what our communities are and where you can get help from in there to help be productive. As John had stated earlier, there's so much more to the communities than what, just SolidWorks World or what's online and everything. There's a whole bunch of components that go into that. We have, online, our support, our partners. So for our online forums, who has a forum account here and has been on our forums before? Okay. I think after this presentation, those of you that haven't or haven't been on there for a while will go on and take a look, because there's a lot of really good stuff in there, especially what John's going to be showing. The first thing that we want to do in there is provide a great user experience and really promote self-help. These are user-to-user interactions. And SolidWorks moderates it and they monitor it, but for the most part, we don't jump in. I mean, we have a lot of really, really passionate users on there that are really, willing to answer your questions. And you probably will find your answer already there. And if you don't have it, posting something up there, you're really going to be able to get a lot of feedback from our other users. We also have a lot of learning resources, best practices, and ideation, which I'll talk about a little later on of how some of the ways that we use that, but we use that for the top 10 list at SolidWorks World. What are the things that you want to see? Vote them up, vote them down, and I think we'll be going over that tomorrow to see what you voted on will be in the new version of SolidWorks. And always, we're trying to tie this back to the help and the knowledge base. We don't want to dead end you. We're trying to get you the answers that you need, so that you can, get back to work and get your job done. We also have DraftSite is our first semi-public community on Swim. Does anybody have a Swim account here that's gone on there? So we are definitely working with the team trying to improve that experience a lot to make it more like the SolidWorks forums. But that also is some user-to-user discussions, and we have a SolidWorks moderator in those also. And one of the things that you can really get out of the forums, I think one of the most value is to get content. And our goal is to make sure that we provide really high value for everybody, and especially if you're on subscription, to really give you even higher value, give you the most content that we can in there. So I'm going to go over some of the things that you might not know that we have on the forums right now that you can take a look at to help you. So one of them is the SolidWorks Part Reviewer, and I don't know if anybody has gone into SolidWorks and seen this. This was something new that was put in SolidWorks 2012, and it's for everybody. Anybody, it's your basic license has this available in it, and the way we have chosen to use it to help our users is we have partnered with some of the power users. I don't know if you know Phil Sluter or Ed Eaton. They're creating parts for us. And one of the really neat things about the part reviewer is, let me give an example, is when you're creating a part in SolidWorks, you can add comments as you go along, and that's been in there for a very long time. Well, instead of having to go in and try to figure out, what comments should I look at, how do I see these, what we've done in the task pane is put in the part reviewer so that you can walk through the comments that are on there, and it walks down the feature tree as it does that. And there's many different ways that you can use this. You can use this to do design reviews. You can just do it to add comments, design intent as you go along. And the way that we've decided to use it to try to help our users is we've partnered with Ed Eaton and Phil Sluter to create these great parts for us. And as they're designing them, to put in their design intent, to kind of walk through why they did it this way, why did they put their feature that, here instead of there, because they might be thinking some of the really cool parts in there are actually assemblies, and this is the part reviewer, so you can't, there's no comments in from the assembly point of view, but when you walk through the comments on the parts, you can see, well, I designed this because when it goes into the assembly, this part is going to matter. So there's some really neat things to go in there and take a look at. So you can just kind of walk through it. So there's new content added in there all the time. We have it at different levels. We have surfacing, we have sheet metal, we have weldments. There's lots of good things in there. So that's one of the things. I think that we'll probably break over 100 models this year that are up there for you to download. We also have the SolidWorks Model Mania models up there, and I don't know if anybody's spotted those, but after the Model Mania contest this year, we'll be posting this one up there also, and they get really, really popular right before SolidWorks World. We started this right before SolidWorks World of last year, and we had a whole bunch of people going on the forums to take a look at what was done in the past so they could maybe try to get a jump on this year's contest. The 1-minute tech tip videos. These were there for a while. These were there a few years ago, and we've resurrected them. So we took the ones that were on there, we redid them, we made sure they were in the current version of SolidWorks, and we're actually adding new ones all the time. And just like they say, they're about a minute long. You take a look, they're categorized, you can see what might pertain to you. We have, some simulation ones. I think we have one on plastics in there. And, you can just take a look and quickly see if there's something in there that can answer or give you a cool new tip. The SolidWorks APIs, these have actually been in there for a long time. Our API team creates these and uploads them. What we've done is actually categorize them and index them a little better. That was the one, the one piece of feedback we got from people where they were a little hard to find. So we've categorized them in one place for everybody. And another thing that we've done, again, with our power users, if Ed Eaton's not here this year, Phil Sluter is. Mark Biasotti is another one. If anybody's ever been to one of their sessions at SolidWorks World, they're usually standing room only. And so what we did is we went to them and we said, listen, what do you guys want to talk about? So this is completely from them. We don't tell them what to talk about. We don't tell them what to discuss. They just create these, they take turns creating these blogs every month for us, and they just put in there what they were thinking, why they were designing it. So it's almost like the part reviewer on steroids. They really get into a lot more details. They usually include the models with them. They include a lot of pictures. And what's really neat is because they're active in the forums, I've seen that, people read through the blog, read through what they're doing, and start asking questions in the discussions, and they're answering back. So it's like a one-on-one being able to pick their brains. I mean, it's really neat stuff. Also, just in general, if you go into the forums and put in tech_tip or technical_tip, you're going to find a whole bunch of items that, we haven't even discussed here that we've tagged as tech tips that you can take a look at in the future. And, when you're in the forums, you can then search on whether you want to document a blog, a discussion. And so most of the things that I just talked about were for subscription customers. And, so that's great. We have, all this value that we provided for our subscription customers. So one of the things that we've done is we've created what we call this featured content blog. Go on there and bookmark it, because every month we change out and we give a free part reviewer, we give the blog away, we give an API, everything that's in there, it changes every month, something brand new in there. So come back often, take a look at it, and that way you can kind of see what's going on. And I think that after SolidWorks World, again, the Model Mania, which are usually for subscription customers, will probably put the SolidWorks World from this year up there for the month of February. And then I just also wanted to mention that we have a large library of tutorials in there. These are mainly provided by the education team. But go ahead and take a look, because they actually have a lot of great videos up there, and this is for subscription and non-subscription customers. And we were talking about ideation earlier. This is one of the things that we've done. On the bottom of every one of the pages that I've just talked about, we have suggest learning content. We have a link to this ideation community. And what we've tried to do is provide all this value for you. We've tried to provide this content. But what we're doing is we're thinking it up ourselves, and we'd love to hear from you. Is there something that is there a design problem like you would like to see solved? Is there a tech tip that you'd like to see? We're looking for your feedback so that we can provide this to you. We have the resources, we're trying to get it all done, so we'd love to provide what, you really is important to you. And 3D Content Central. Who has a 3D Content Central account? So this is another one that in years past, we've actually done a whole breakout session on 3D Content Central. There's not one this year, but I wanted to go ahead and mention how to be productive within SolidWorks with it, because this is another one that I usually see people take notes down on. If you're within 3D Content, if you're within SolidWorks and you search, within the search menus, you can turn on, I think it's on by default, search 3D Content Central. And if you're connected to the internet, when you search for something, it's actually going to give you search results for 3D Content Central. And you can, so you can also, I'm sorry, before I said that, when you go to, if you, at any time you can share a model, that's in the task pane menu. And if you go into the system options, I think it's include 3D Content Central results, and your search results will be there. And then, for example, when you go ahead and search on something and you search on your files and models that you're looking for, some of the results that will show up will be 3D Content Central. And all you do is you drag that model from your task pane into your workspace. It's going to ask you to log in, it's going to ask you to configure, and it's going to download right there. And what's really neat is that intelligence follows that model around. So if you open that model later, if you pass it off to somebody else, instead of edit definition, you're going to get it edit 3D Content Central definition, so you can go back in and you can reconfigure it to a different size, you can download a different model. So that about covers everything I wanted to cover today about the community. And John, as the product manager, you've been new to the community for about 7 or 8 months, and you've been out talking to our customers. And what have you learned?
Well, really it can be summed up as opportunity. One of the things that I've seen and heard from customers is that they really love the stuff that's out there, but it can be a little hard to get to and work with from time to time, depending on what it is that they're trying to do. So it's definitely been an interesting few months. It's been an exciting few months, and I've learned quite a bit myself. And what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about some of the customer feedback that we've gotten in a little more specificity here. So the first thing is, excuse me just a sec. So the first thing is what Carrie just referenced. So there's lots of content out there in the community. So the community basically is comprised of people and the content they create either through discussions or by creating these artifacts, these documents, these posts, these videos, things like that. And there's a lot of them. So if you go to SolidWorks.com, you can find the SolidWorks customer portal so that you can access kind of a central hub for some of the resources and get access to your account information and things like that. There's the customer forum, which is of course the place where it's this great interchange of questions and ideas and concepts and thoughts that happens really hourly. We have the online help, which Carrie took us through, which is a great resource for finding how to achieve things in SolidWorks, how to use the features in SolidWorks. We have examples on YouTube of how to operate given features. 3D Content Central. We have educational sections on the website which have training curriculum and things like that you can use with great examples to draw from. There are the blogs, which have all these interesting ideas and illustrations of more advanced modeling concepts and things like that. And a lot of these things are brought together, as I said, in the customer portal. And they're all brought together in the Resource Center page on SolidWorks.com. So what I've heard from customers is that when they're looking for something, oftentimes they'll end up here. And in order to find an answer to a question that they have, which is really the primary driver in a lot of cases for somebody to come to the community, they start here. So they go to the Resource Center and they're presented with a bunch of links. And if you can see some of these things, I'm sorry, my representation is pretty small, but there's the YouTube channel and demos and the customer portal. And each one of these things is separate and distinct. So I can go to the customer forums and do a search and maybe find what I want there. I can go to YouTube and do a search and maybe what I find there. I can go to customer 3D Content Central and maybe find something that I'm looking for. In some cases, I have to log in multiple times to get at these things. And in cases where I don't find what I want, I come back here to the Resource Center and go look again. So when I see that, when I look at that, when I listen to what customers say about, there's stuff in there, but it's kind of hard to find. Again, what I see is opportunity. And really it all boils down to an opportunity to do a better job of providing this information to our customers, to helping you be productive with SolidWorks. And that's really what is behind the decision. And the decision actually came from Bertrand to pursue My SolidWorks. So Bertrand talked about it yesterday morning as this initiative to do a better job serving customers, and that's certainly what we hope to achieve with this product. So My SolidWorks is a new web experience that allows you to connect, discover, and share everything SolidWorks in one seamless experience. So the goal here is not to replace all of the things that we just talked about, but rather give you one web experience to access all of those things. So instead of having to go to the Customer Resource Center and then go out and look for things individually, we want to give you one experience where you can discover all that information. Instead of having to log in multiple times to multiple different sources, we want to let you use your SolidWorks customer account to log into each of those things individually. So the same account that you use to log into the customer portal, the same account that you use to log into the forums is the account that you use to log into My SolidWorks. We want to give you one search. Okay, search is how everybody works these days. You have a question, you do a search on Google, you go to Bing maybe, and look for what you want. We want to give you one search across all those resources, so you don't have to go out to each one individually and try to find what you're looking for. Okay, we want to give you one place to go. Instead of that link farm, the resource center, we want to give you one place to go where you can see a digest, if you will, an aggregation of everything that's happening across all those different resources in the community. What are the most recent posts? What are the most recent blog entries? What are the most recent questions being asked in the forum? Bring all that into one place so you have one place to go to see all of the recent activity. We also want to make it easy to get at that stuff. So instead of just giving you a digest, we want to also make it easy for you to read that stuff. So we're providing a reader so it allows you to do in-place reading of forums and blog entries and things like that, all inside my SolidWorks. Yeah, there's stuff that we still need to get to as we add capability, and we'll talk about that when we get into the demo. But the intent is to give you one place to go. Also, I mean, this is we're 2013 here. We have lots of great stuff happening out there in websites and web applications. And one of the things is that's just a truism today is that your search engine knows an awful lot about you, probably more than your best friend knows, in terms of understanding what your choices are, what your preferences are, what you're interested in looking at. It returns results to you based on the things that you've expressed an interest in previously. And we don't want to go as far as Google does in some of that stuff, but what we would like to do is provide a layer of personalization so that your experience inside my SolidWorks reflects your interests. So if you never, ever, ever, ever open a Twitter feed, why on earth would we put only, elevate Twitter feeds up in your feed within my SolidWorks? We would rather put things in there that are of interest to you than things that you don't necessarily care about, while at the same time, making it easy for you to discover stuff. So there's a balance there as well, but we want to make sure that you have the ability to personalize the experience for yourself. And then lastly, we want to make my SolidWorks social, but not social in the context of building a new social network. There's plenty of those out there. Really, this is an opportunity for you to, as you're discovering things, as you're finding things that are of interest to you, of value to you, make it easy for you to share those with other people. So, we don't have a new social network here. What we are letting you do, though, is take an article that you find, and just like you can from within the forums, push it out to LinkedIn, push it out to Facebook, push it out to Twitter. Send a link to it over email to your associates, to your friends, to whoever else you might think will find value in that. So we're making it social, we're making it easier to share in that regard. So at a high level, that's my SolidWorks. What I'd like to do is actually take you through a demonstration now, and then at the end we can circle back and ask some questions. I need my mouse. Excuse me just a second while I plug this in. Neglected to earlier. That's a good question. It is not. Sorry, I woke up this morning with a cold. If anybody's missing theirs, I'm happy to give it back. So let me connect to the internet here for a moment. Okay, it looks like it's wired up. Let's see how we do here. Okay, let's go to my SolidWorks. So my SolidWorks, as we've announced, are you seeing that? No, you're not seeing the website. Go to PowerPoint and escape from. That should do it. Okay. So now you're seeing my SolidWorks. Okay, good. So as we announced on Monday, my SolidWorks has entered public beta. So this is a public website that anybody can turn to now and start accessing. It's just my.solidworks.com. And essentially, as I said, it is public, but you'll get the most benefit from it if you're a SolidWorks customer and you use your SolidWorks customer account to log in. So I'm not logged in right now, If I wanted to take advantage of all the capabilities, I just simply sign in, use my account login here for my customer portal account. And that'll take me right in. Now, the reason it's important to log in is that, because all we're really doing is putting a single aggregator UI on top of all those different websites that are out there. All of the content rules that exist inside those websites still apply here. So if you're logged in, if you are on subscription, then you'll see content in My SolidWorks that's tied to your rights as a SolidWorks subscription customer. If you're, just a general public user, you can't see any of that stuff. It's all behind, closed doors. You'll see only the public information that you could get to through the normal SolidWorks.com website. So I'm logged in now, and really I talked about a couple of use cases as I was describing My SolidWorks earlier. The most important one is search. So again, really the most common scenario that somebody's faced with when they're coming to the community is that they found a problem, that they have an engineering challenge that they don't know how to get past. And so they'll turn to the community, and historically they might go to the forums or YouTube, as I said, or the blogs. Now you can go to My SolidWorks and perform a search. So if I type in a search here, if I start typing, it actually gives me an autocomplete list based on what we've indexed and all the different content sources that are out there. I'm just going to type in weld gaps and run the search, and it's going to go off and find content from across a number of different sources. So it's finding me 51 results, as you can see up in the upper left here, across the forums, the online help, and on the SolidWorks blogs. And you can see on the right-hand side the search results, and they look like search results. You've got a header, you've got a snippet, you've got a source, and it lets me do things like page through them and stuff like that. So pretty predictable. On the left-hand side, I have what amount to filters and allow me to tighten my search up. I only have 51 results here, so it's not too hard for me to go through this. But if I got 1,000 or 1,500 results back, it might be helpful for me to say, well, I'm really mostly interested in the things that are in online help, for example, and it will narrow down the amount of stuff that it provides to me. And it's very easy for me to turn that off, either with the checkbox down below or the little filter that popped up in the header bar up top. On the right, I can see the results. I can sort them either by relevance in ascending or descending order, and this is the relevance that we assign to it based on the search string that you entered. Or we can do it by date, so that you can focus on the most recent content. If you've just looking for something that's new on a topic that you've looked for before, or you can look at the oldest stuff as well. If you know that there's a snippet out there that is there and it's quite old, so you want to look at the older stuff first. So that's the search engine, and if I open something, it actually takes me right out to the content source where that thing lives. Okay, so in this case, it's taking me right to the forums, and we don't have it fully implemented yet. But when we have the single sign-on capabilities there, it'll log me into the forums, and I can participate in them, respond to them, do all the kinds of things I can do in the forums today, because that's exactly where I am. And it doesn't disturb where I was in My SolidWorks. So if it's not what I was looking for, it's very easy for me to go back to where I was and stay in place and continue looking for the answer I'm looking for. So that's search. Pretty straightforward, not probably terribly surprising, but really, really convenient. If you've ever had to go look across multiple different sites today on SolidWorks.com, this makes it much, much easier for you to find what you're looking for among those resources. So let me go home, and I want to focus for another minute on the home page. Now, the home page in My SolidWorks, as I said, is this aggregator of the recent. So it's taking activity that's happening across the different community, across the different community sites, and putting them forward here on the home page. And you can see in the upper left-hand corner, this first box is unique among all of them, and that it's got this rotating content that is going through. That's a block that we actually curate at SolidWorks, and what we're doing is we're looking across blogs and forum posts and things like that for things that we think either based on activity, because we have metrics that tell us how much content is being used and what the most popular things are, stuff like that. So we'll look at things that are trending, things that we think will have a lot of value to people, and we'll put those in that box so that, again, in the name of discoverability, so that you can learn new things and see new things as they're coming out, we'll put them right in the upper left-hand corner. And then the rest is really based on some algorithms that mix different sources in different proportions and surface them here. And you have a little bit of control over that in filters, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Now, if I want to open any one of these things, I can click on it here. See, this one is an item from the forums. If I hover over the icon, it tells me that. I can see, again, the title, the snippet. I can see when it was posted. I can see who posted it. If I click on it, it takes me to a reader. And as I said, we're bringing all of this into one place so that you can read this content and stay up to date with it. And there are a couple things. You can see I can collapse the list. And this list on the left-hand side is the same list that you saw in that more magazine-style layout on the homepage. It's just oriented differently. It's the same sequence of articles. And on the right-hand side, you can read the item. Now, we don't have it yet, but our intent is to allow you to do things like if you click on a YouTube video, play that video here. If you have a forum post, to ultimately be able to respond in here to the forum post without having to go out to the SolidWorks forum. So we'll be adding more to this view. For now, it's really just a view of the high-level thing. And if you want to get into the discussion itself, you would click on the title and it would take you out again to the SolidWorks forums to allow you to participate more directly there. Again, it leaves me where I was in my SolidWorks so that I don't lose my place. I don't have to go back and find where I was again. I mentioned a little bit earlier that we've made My SolidWorks social, and again, social in what we think is a useful way, as opposed to adding to the work that you have to do in maintaining yet more social networks. And in that sense, what we've done here is we've put these icons, which allow you to very easily share a particular article, and you can see what they are: LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. And then lastly, email. And if you click on email, it basically gives you a really simple form, lets you put in your who you want to send it to, who it's from, and sends a link to it. So pretty straightforward in terms of the sharing capability. So it's but at the same time, if the point is, as you're doing your research, to empower not just yourself, but also the guy in the cube next to you, who you're working on a problem with, the ability to share is a really nice feature. Okay, a couple other things I want to just highlight. We have this read later, this little bookmark flag here. One of the things that My SolidWorks lets you do is quickly skim the articles that you see in the different views and decide what you want to take a look at a later time. And I can just flag it as something to read later. Just a couple of other things. I can quickly navigate between these two. I can, open and close this different view to give more space to the article itself, etc. But if I go home, over here in the upper right-hand corner, I have. Oh, okay, it's been doing this. It actually logged me out, so let me refresh and log myself back in. Still in beta. Apologies. We discovered this a couple days ago. Okay, so I'm logged in again. I still have the 7. So it does associate these things with your account. Again, with your SolidWorks account. It's not a new account that you're creating, by the way, just to stress that. We're not asking you to create a new account. It's the very same account that you probably already have. You just use it for this as well. So if I click on that the bookmark, you can see the same view. It's exactly the same view that we saw before, but the difference is that I only have the 7 articles that I flagged for read later here. So if you're in the middle of a busy workday, you see something of interest, you want to flag it for later, it's easy for you to come back here. Also a way to maybe bookmark things that you will find particularly useful that you want to come back to quickly without emailing them to yourself. So it's a pretty handy capability as well. And the last thing I wanted to show you, and then we'll move to wrap up and Q&A here. The last thing I wanted to show you is the filter capability. So I mentioned personalization, and I mentioned how we want to move in the direction of having my SolidWorks understand what your preferences are and be proactive in showing you content based on your preferences. Well, the first way that we're doing that is by giving you the ability to decide which sources you want to take a look at inside this magazine view and inside the list view that we've seen. As well as to choose which categories of content that you like to take a look at. So if again, I don't care about Twitter, if I really want to focus on the SolidWorks forums, the SolidWorks blog, and the SolidWorks YouTube channel, if I choose those things, all of the Twitter feeds will go away, the education blog in that case will go away. I'm really only going to be shown the things that are important to me. So we think it's a handy way of personalizing my SolidWorks to your needs. And again, our intention is to do much more there so that there's less work involved in setting it up for your own preferences. Okay, so I have to just undo what I did to get back to the presentation. Just give me just a moment. Okay, back there. Okay, so what would I like you to do? So I'm the product manager for my SolidWorks, so of course what I would love everybody to do is to try my product. So it is a public beta. I'd love you to go out there and just go to my.solidworks.com, give it a try. You can create your customer portal account there if you don't have it, or you can use the one that you already have. Or you can use it again anonymously without logging in at all. So it's available to you in however you want to use it. It is in beta, so we have a beta community that's associated. It's in the SolidWorks forums. It's associated with the My SolidWorks beta. If you have feedback, would love to hear it. We've gotten lots of great input from folks who have come by the hands-on session yesterday, folks who have come down to the booth so far over the past few days, and lots of great ideas, some of which we already had, and many of which we didn't have yet. So it's very, very good to hear that stuff. And we also would encourage you in the beta community. So we do betas. Obviously, we've had a public beta now of My SolidWorks, but we had a private beta going on for the past 6-8 weeks or something like that, and a handful. Actually, I know Matt Rohr was in here a little bit earlier, and he was part of that early beta. If you're interested in being one of the private beta testers as we bring more capabilities out in My SolidWorks, let us know. Put your name in the community as somebody who's interested in doing that, and we'll reach out via the community to add you to future betas if that's something that you'd like to do. So would love your support in doing that. Now, just taking a step back now to the overall presentation, and then we'll go open the floor up to questions. So I guess the first takeaway, and this is a message which has again resonated throughout the event so far, and it's a consistent message for SolidWorks World, which is that the whole reason SolidWorks exists is to make you more productive. And our success as a company, our success as a business, really hinges on our ability to make you more productive. If you can't get more done with SolidWorks faster and faster, like your bosses are asking you to, but somebody else can, then you're going to go somewhere else. So it's incumbent on us to help you get the most out of SolidWorks with both the existing capabilities you have, thus the community, and it's incumbent on us to continue to push the product forward in terms of making it a better productivity tool for you all. The community is a critical resource. We certainly believe that it's a critical resource in terms of helping all of us learn and improve and expand what we can do with SolidWorks. That includes VARs, it includes SolidWorks employees themselves, and of course it includes our customers. want to just stress that there are many ways to configure SolidWorks. So you could really have a presentation all unto itself on ways of configuring SolidWorks and taking advantage of capabilities within SolidWorks to meet your specific needs. And we've really only touched on a few of them. And there's a tremendous number of resources out there that can help you get more from SolidWorks. And many of them are sitting in this room, by the way. It's not just about content. It's also about the expertise that's embodied in each of you and the experience that each of you have in doing great stuff with SolidWorks. Also take away from this that and particularly the My SolidWorks part, that we are absolutely investing. And from a technology perspective, we are investing in making the community a better place, a stronger place. Lots of different websites today. We want to pull that stuff together, make it easier to get at, and we want to do more for you in the community. And we want to hear from you how you want us to invest, how you want us to make the community experience better. So beta is very important. Giving us feedback on the My SolidWorks community site, very, very, very important as well. And would certainly encourage you to try the beta. And look forward to the first release of My SolidWorks, the first official release of My SolidWorks later in this quarter. So with that, I thank you, and we'll open it up for questions, and between myself and Carrie, we'll do the best we can to answer. Yes.
Do you have access to the download and certification areas here?
Not yet.
Not yet. No. Well, so. So probably not in the official release. So in the first release, one of the things that we have lots of sites out there, and one of the goals that we have is to consolidate sites where they make sense. So things like the customer portal, there are a few things that are unique about the customer portal, and then there's a lot of links there. And then likewise the resource center, a lot of links there. What we'd like to do is take all those links and move them into My SolidWorks over time and consolidate some of these things. Not everything. That some things are best left as standalone separate things. But in many cases, we want to consolidate and just clean it up basically. So we don't have access to the downloads yet. Not sure when that's gonna show up, but it's certainly our intent to continue cleaning it up. Other questions? Yes.
The design intent that you spoke about earlier, I don't remember learning that in classes. So can you go over that?
Which part of it?
The design intent that you can put into your model.
Oh, the part reviewer parts?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Actually, we have a couple minutes here. Let me, my computer has SolidWorks on it. Does yours, John?
It does, sure.
Because I can go ahead and just give you a live demo of it. Yes, go ahead.
Do you foresee mobile apps for the MySolidWorks.com?
Absolutely, yeah. If you notice that we put a note up there because it wasn't quite coming together the way that we wanted it to, so we thought it best for now to not release it so that we can really kind of polish it off before we release it.
Sorry, it's a little distorted, but on here, but.
Wow, confused. So basically, oh boy. Anything that you open up is going to have, what version of SolidWorks is this?
2012.
Okay. Just want to make sure that I have on here. Okay, now you asked for it. It's a live demo, so I haven't practiced this.
And it's not her machine, so.
And it's not my machine, so. Actually, it's add-ins, tools, add-ins. So if you go, this is actually all in the forums that tells you how to enable this and how to walk through this also. So what I'm going to be showing you, you can find all these details out. There's some documents written in the forums about this. But you're going to go in here, and here's the part reviewer. You're going to see that you can add it in right here. And it shows up as one of the tabs on here, part reviewer. And so if there's any comments that you add in any of these, so if I go ahead and say, add a comment in here, and I say something like, And I can put this in here, and I can save it and close it. And you can kind of go through each of the features in here when you do that. And then, and this is 2012, we actually have made a lot of improvements in 2013. And I think that if it's not in 2013, it's coming soon. We want you to be able to actually comment directly in the part reviewer so that you don't have to do the comment separately.
This is new for 2012.
This is new in 2012. And you know, we're making improvements all the time. Are you on one before?
I just upgraded it 2012 last week.
Great.
Our company won't let us go to the latest.
Yes.
Say a year behind.
Right. And what's great is that you should see sparkles in the menus then on 2012 for the part reviewer. So, but as you go through the part reviewer on this, I wonder if I Control Q, it should be in there. I added a comment in there, so did I not do it the right way? As I said, the comment, add comment. Maybe I didn't save it and close it. Yeah, I thought there's comments in there, so I'm not quite sure why this is not updating on this. But as you can walk through here, you should be able to just walk through, and it would bring the rollback bar to exactly where each of those comments are.
Putting comments in the system requires.
Oh, thank you. See, this is what happens when you like.
Good example of the community coming together to.
Okay. File. It's doing a double click on me. I'm going to go ahead and just open up the part itself. Okay, this is going wonderfully here. Okay, here we go. So now it's all lit up and it's working well. So I'm going to go ahead and add a comment directly in here. And of course now I'm not going to be able to find, there we go, comment, add comment. So what we've done with the ones in the up on the forums is that we've actually have a ton of these parts that kind of walk you through. So now if I go through, you can either play it through, or if I step through, it actually rolls the bar back to each one of the comments, each one of the features, and we'll tell you if there's anything in there to discuss, to go through. And I don't know why it's then, here we go, check this, check the size out. So you don't have to figure out which comments, which features have comments. You can kind of just walk your way through, and it brings it down to the feature level on those. And the ones in the, are we still hooked up to the internet? I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the forums here and just show you.
Is that where you pulled the part from the forum?
This part, no, he had it on his computer. So the ones on the forums, is it forums? So I'm going to go ahead and log in so that you can see what's in there. And if you search for part reviewer, actually if you search in also in my SolidWorks, but if I go ahead and search for part reviewer parts in here, there's a whole bunch of part reviewer example files. So this is what we have in here. And you can see that we just have like a ton of models that are in here. And any one of these that you can download. So for example, if I go to this page, it's going to talk about a little bit about what the part's about itself. Here's where, it asks you to go to the, get more part reviewer content. I can go ahead and download it directly from here. And when I open it up and I can walk my way through within SolidWorks, Let me do ahead. I'm going to go ahead and save this to your desktop, okay, John?
Probably won't find it though, but that's good. It's kind of a mess.
And so that way, when I open it up in SolidWorks, was that the one I just did? Yep. Yay. Something worked out. So as you go through each of these, you can see that there's design intent in each one of these as he walks through it and kind of talks his way through. So there's some really, really good parts out there, and there's lots more that are coming. There's some assemblies up there that if you open each of the parts, you can really get some good information in there. And as I said, the part reviewer itself is for any level of SolidWorks. You don't have to have premium or anything like that to have that in there. To get the models from the forums, we give one a month away for free that you can go ahead and take a look at. If you have subscription, you can go to that index. Actually, you can go to the index anyway, but to download them, you have to have subscription. And you can see everything that's on there. Yeah, actually, I think that that's one of the top things that's coming out is that people want to see that too. They kind of want to see it all together. But right now it's called the part reviewer, so. So I did see some people as we were talking writing down notes, so I hope we, gave everybody a little something to go away with. Any other questions? Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks.